More questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community.
That's Charlemagne the God's interview with then presidential candidate Joe Biden that went viral for all the wrong reasons. Now, the Biden administration is catching heat over their promise to support black communities and black business owners, and more specifically, black-owned and operated media.
The Biden administration continues down this path. They will not get the support of black-owned media. They will not get the support of black people, and they will not be reelected. That's what's going to happen.
Black Enterprise CEO Earl Butch Graves Jr. says the president hasn't delivered on his pledge to invest in black America.
They've gone back and practiced the same racist spending habits out of the government that has been in place for years.
The federal government, the nation's largest advertiser, spent $5 billion on ad contracts from 2013 to 2017. Just 1% of that money went to black-owned companies. Business leaders like Graves say the Biden-Harris administration is delivering more of the same.
You name the program, and it has disproportionately been spent in white-owned media to try to reach, quote, our people without spending the money directly with us.
This is a question that stands out like a big, throbbing, sore toe.
Georgia Congressman Hank Johnson is among lawmakers renewing demands to commit federal dollars to black-owned businesses and black-owned media.
There never has been a level playing field for black businesses in this country. With the federal government now spending $1.9 trillion on the American Rescue Plan, and then the $1.1 trillion infrastructure bill, these are unprecedented amounts of monies that are being spent by the federal government. There's no better way of doing that than to have black people themselves as the ones doing the communicating. And so that means black owned.
If you go back to the 1800s, where you have our first black newspapers, not only was it a way to build wealth and created some of our first millionaires, but on top of that, it was where we told our stories, where we celebrated our celebrities. It's where we kept up on our current events. By the time we're in the 2000s, those things are all disappearing, largely driven by the fact that you can't get advertiser support. Advertisers don't want to be around black news because so much of black news was about social justice and economic justice and police brutality, and those weren't fun subjects for brands and advertisers.
Only a handful of black-owned and operated major media companies exist today. For Revolt CEO Datavio Samuels, black media has a responsibility beyond content to reinvest in the culture.
For the purpose of Revolt Black News, we want to make visible what they have made invisible, because we know that when we do that, the world will move.
This isn't just about a couple of bad apples. This is a systemic issue.
Minneapolis independent journalist Georgia Ford is reshaping the media narrative through her company Black Press, covering the Twin Cities as it's become the epicenter of a global movement for police accountability.
While you were prosecuting Derek Chauvin, was there ever a time during the trial where you thought maybe the jury might deliver a not guilty verdict?
No.
I would say that my work has earned me credibility within my community in Minneapolis and the surrounding areas because I've been consistent. I show up even when mainstream media doesn't show up. I also am looking for our voices.
To give voice to the culture, Ford says investment from leaders is critical.
Black media needs leaders to support them. It is so important that these leaders come to us to share their stories, even that these leaders, maybe if they're not in a position to support us financially, that they advocate on our behalf in their corners of the world so that we can be sustained.
Independent journalist Georgia Ford joins us now from the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, as well as Chief Content Officer of Black Enterprise Magazine, Derek Dingle. Thank you both for joining us for this conversation. Derek, your team at Black Enterprise looked into the Biden administration's distribution of federal advertising dollars for COVID-19 vaccination awareness. You said black media was being shut out. What did you mean by that?
Black-owned media hasn't received the advertising contracts that white and majority-owned media has received from the federal government. We decided to do a story and looking at why, at a time when you have the highest rates of COVID infections in Black communities and a need for COVID awareness, that they didn't actively use Black-owned media. And we found that even though they had designated funds, the Black-owned media only got a third of those dollars. And this has been a continuing pattern of discrimination in terms of federal dollars for advertising that has occurred over the last 30 years.
Georgia, what are other demands now that should be requested from the Biden administration?
I think the number one thing is to follow through on those promises. There should be an additional effort to provide resources to Black-owned media all across this country.
It's our job to hold their feet to the fire, and then now to come back and to call them on those things that they haven't done. It's part of, the accountability process.
Is it fair to call this systemic racism or systemic discrimination when it comes to where federal dollars are going?
What else can you call it? It's the elephant in the room. And I think maybe some people might be afraid to put that label on it. But systemically, when you look back at the media industry, this is a problem that has continued to persist despite presidential promises. So if legislation doesn't fix it, then I think we can confirm, yes, it is a systemic issue.
Let's talk about the importance of Black media as a trusted voice for the culture. What role does journalism for and by Black people play, not only in terms of content, but also opportunity?
Black-owned media has always been a vital source for information, advocacy, and upliftment. Black-owned media has been the voice that has helped eradicate and remove systemic barriers to advancement for African Americans. We've used our platform to elevate people financially, economically, and through business. We've been able to help entrepreneurs build multi-million-dollar businesses. We've identified and exposed some of the leaders of tomorrow that African Americans would not have been aware of, who have gone on to become CEOs of major corporations. We've served as a guidebook to help African Americans gain multi-generational success. That is the role that Black-owned media has played in terms of the elevation of African American and moving us forward.
Let's talk about the opportunities that Black press and Black media has given Black journalists.
In 1970, when it was founded, Black Enterprise and publications and media outlets like Black Enterprise created a generation of journalists that eventually became impactful throughout media. The Black media represents a platform for great opportunity for a number of journalists to be creative, to tell our stories, and that's something that many Black journalists did not get in mainstream journalism.
As an independent journalist who covers the Black community, what barriers have you faced in the white majority media landscape in telling our stories, Georgia?
Well, I would say sometimes I think that there's challenges and barriers pertaining to access. Specifically, when we were covering the Derek Chauvin trial, with the current COVID restrictions, the judge only allowed one camera in the courtroom. And so we had to pull from that one camera. And a lot of the larger white-led, white-owned mainstream media outlets wanted to box out Black press, wanted to box out independent journalists like myself. That just one situation affirms why it's so critical that we continue to control our own narratives, that we are the keepers of our stories. What's not documented can be denied. And so I've seen the role of Black press and independent journalists like myself being one that specifically in this market can move the needle on accountability. But once you open it up and more people have access, more outlets have access, independent journalists like myself, I streamed the entire trial.